Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President, Founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Standup. So without any further ado, let's get started. It's Tuesday. Yesterday had to be the most amazing episode we've ever done. We had the opportunity to meet with none other than the legend, the myth, the man, Mike Cohn. And let me tell you, that podcast episode was off the hook. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, please make sure you go back and listen. Mike and I had some really good banter. It was just a way to celebrate Agile. It was just absolutely amazing. Today, keeping in that same high energy trend, I want to talk to you about the 5 trademarks of an Agile organization. So there's a study done by McKinsey back in 2018, where they talked about these 5 identifying factors, or these 5 trademarks, if you will, that shows that your organization is Agile. So I thought it'd be a good idea for us to review those and kind of see where we stand up against these 5 trademarks. So coming in at number 5. They're constantly focused on next generation products and services. And I thought this was interesting. In the past, I've seen many organizations struggle because they're trying to take updates and enhancements and things and retrofit them backwards into everything that they're doing. In the modern workplace, one of the things we discover is that a lot of organizations are starting to really focus on all of their changes going forward, thereby asking people to upgrade or stay current so that they can have the latest additions and upgrades. Now, obviously, if it's a catastrophic defect or something that causes financial stress or a security flaw, those things need to be fixed in all versions. But when it comes to actual updates or enhancements, what we're seeing is that a lot of companies are doing fewer, I should say, low impact fixes in previous versions, and they're focusing their attention on next generation products and services. What is the next product going to look like? There's been a great demand to focus on innovation. And I think that's awesome because I think that's really where we need to be. Coming in at number 4, dynamic teams that ignite passion. What you can see is when you get into the organizations where Agile's working, you'll see teams that are excited, they're energized, they're empowered, they're liberated, if you will. They feel like they're making a difference. They feel like they can come in and they feel like they can do certain things and they feel like they can really make a difference. And it's so awesome to see when that happens because those teams are energized and they really keep the skids greased and they really want to press forward and do the things that they're doing best. And what I can tell you is many of these teams, when we talk about self-organization, they practice what I call the survivor model. When new team members are added on, they're part of the final interview process. When it comes to self-regulating, many times they'll say this team member's great at what they do, but they're not a good cultural fit, and they'll shift people around until they find people who are a good fit. Organizations that allow for self-organization, for self-team empowerment, and for self-correction are the ones that see these dynamic teams that are passionate and love what they do. Coming in at number 3, rapid decision-making and learning cycles, I guess we'll call it. So organizations where Agile is present, you'll see decisions being made very, very quickly. Things will just be popping. And that's good. And I think one of the things that I try to instill in every one of my classes when I teach is that there's only one thing worse than some direction, and that's no direction. And there's one thing worse than no direction, and that's one direction. But they're a band, and that should be different. No, in all seriousness, I think that when people make rapid decisions, even if they're wrong, it gives you a chance to identify that you made the wrong choice and you can quickly course correct. So as long, once again, as it's not something that's catastrophic or potentially life-threatening, I believe that most decisions inside of an Agile organization should be made rapidly so that you can create the feedback loop, learn things sooner, and press things forward. Because I can tell you that's where the big marker is. Coming in at number 2 is creating a network of empowered teams. And I know I hit on that before, but the part I want to focus on here is the network. I think that sometimes we end up with some teams that are high performing, some teams that are not, but in a grand flow of things, what we wind up seeing is that some teams just never get to talk to other teams, or that there's duplication of effort, or that some teams don't know what other teams are working on. And I feel like in order to really have this Agile thing take off, you need to have an embedded culture. And in order to have a culture, you need to have an open mindset. And agility, a big part of why agility works is the engagement of teams to become more T-shaped, to become more cross-functional, to become comfortable working in areas, and to create a network of teams that are empowered to make decisions and to make change happen in the organization. I think that all too often as an executive, I've even suffered from restricting teams to the point where I'm taking away some of their creative ethos. I'm not giving them the power that they need to do the things they do. So I feel like if we're going to be in a really good agile organization, then we need to make sure we have a network of empowered teams that are driving forward to get things done. And coming in at number one, and this is one that I talked about extensively in a class I just did, is these organizations have a North Star embodied across the whole organization. They have an organizational vision and strategy about what they're trying to do, who their target audience is, and what they're doing to make a difference in the world today. And it's a mindset shift, right? And it's going from that closed, I know everything mindset to an open mindset where you're not afraid of creativity, you're not afraid of change. Your behavior indicates that you're willing to roll with the punches and do some of those things so you can escape that fixed mindset and get into a growth mindset. And I think that when you shift from a fixed to a growth mindset, that's going to be the big shift. That's the one that establishes the agile culture and makes things really click. In fact, I think this might sound like a good idea for our Thursday podcast. So that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Stand Up. As always, we encourage you to visit agiledad.com where you can learn more about this topic and others. If you have a topic you want to hear in the Daily Stand Up, make sure you reach out to us. Learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear from you. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until Thursday, when we talk about fixed versus growth mindset, we'll see you real soon. Do take care. Stay agile, stay healthy, stay well.